Are you lazy and hate X-Acto knives? Laser cutting. Quotes by Andrew Dupuis. Imagine you had a knife made of a really powerful laser that could cut through anything. Well, it turns out that's exactly what a laser cutter is, and you probably have access to one. A laser cutter is essentially a printer, but instead of ink, it uses lasers to burn or etch your pattern or shape into a material. Definitely don't get them confused with laser pointers, but a lot of the physics is similar. It's just that laser pointers run off of like 5 volts and a laser cutter runs off maybe 120. And that's the difference between pointing at a board or cutting straight through it. Light in a laser cutter starts in something called the laser tube, which is essentially a laser generator. A laser is essentially a beam of really, really straight light. If you imagine something going straight forever, that's a laser. The light gets pushed out of the laser tube and towards a series of mirrors, which deflect it perfectly down towards your material. As it's heading down, it passes through a lens, and this lens focuses all of the light into one specific point, and that's the point that will cut through your material. So in a nutshell, ray gun, mirror, mirror, lens, material. So the most common materials cut in standard laser cutters are wood, acrylic, paper, fabric. I'm just listing. Be sure whatever material you're cutting doesn't release a toxic gas when being cut. So vinyl releases chlorine when it's cut, and you really don't want to breathe in chlorine. So stay away from PVC, and many laser cutters also can't handle metal without it damaging the laser cutter. So be sure to read about the specific laser cutter that you're using before you try a material. Don't limit yourself to 2D with laser cutters, because you'll be amazed at what you can do in 3 dimensions. For example, a common technique that's used is called the living hinge, and that's essentially when you take a piece of wood and you can have it bend through the cuts that you make. You can also laser cut intricate patterns into fabric, textiles, leather, similar to this skirt. Today we're going to learn how to use the Epilog laser cutters. But before we get started, we're going to have to make a file that the computer can understand. Alright, so now that we're here at the laser cutter, the first thing we want to do is check to make sure that the job that we sent is indeed the job that's listed here on the screen. If it's not, you can cycle with the up and down buttons to make sure that you get to that job. So we're going to open up the laser cutter and place our piece of material inside. Make sure it's lined up nicely with the corners. So the next thing we're going to do is focus the laser, and that is to make sure that the focal point of the laser is somewhere in the middle of your material so that we're getting the most efficient cut possible. So now what we're going to do is hit the focus button, and when that happens, you'll see that the laser pointer head will move over to here. Do not run autofocus. We don't run autofocus. Instead, I'm going to manually focus it. So how I'm going to do that is the up and down arrows here control the bed. When I hit down, the laser bed goes down, and when I hit up, the laser bed goes up. So in this case, it was too close to the material, so I'm going to go down a good amount until I'm very sure it's too far away. And then I'm going to take my focusing tool, and each laser cutter has a focusing tool, and put it on here like such. Now I'm going to take the laser cutter focusing sheet, which is really just a piece of paper, and slide it under here. And I'm going to hit up gently until it catches, like that. Once it catches, then you can take the focusing tool off and the laser sheet out, put them back where you found them, and then close the printer. Now be sure to hit escape from this window and not go. Hit the stop button, and that will get you out of the focusing. And now you're ready to hit go and run your job. The first thing that the laser cutter will do is all of the rasters. It will burn all of the images you have onto the material before ever cutting through. Rastering is when the laser cutter acts almost like your home printer, where it goes back and forth and simply burns an image onto the material. Right now, the laser is cutting all the way through the material to create a clean, precise cut in the shape of the finger grooves that we have designed for the box. So once this is done, each piece can be individually taken out and fit together like a puzzle. Smoke is completely normal. Keep in mind you're burning through material. The only thing you want to watch out for is real flames, and if that ever happens, hit the stop button and they should go out immediately. Be sure to wait about 30 seconds before you open the lid of the laser cutter so you give the fumes time to dissipate. And now we can get our part. The scrap pieces can go in the scrap bins that are next to the laser cutters. Be sure to clean up after yourself, and now we can go build a box.